Alright guys, Vol here, going to take a look at a game of Warhammer between myself and Daryl around at my place. Skaven versus Dwarves. This is 8th edition, and the game you're about to see turned into a real circus. It was a pretty silly game because we both forgot to apply certain rules in 8th edition. We got the existing rules messed up in a number of situations, and I really sort of muffed this game in terms of just really getting everything right. I'm going to report it anyway because I'm sure you guys want to see what actually happened and sort of how we're getting on with things. But yeah, just a bit of an interesting one. I've got my list, which has been tweaked a little bit. Still haven't fielded any Horde units, but I'll be fixing that as of the next game. Really just working with the models I've got, the movement trays that I've got, the ideas that I've got, and sort of focusing on one thing at a time. We're still not actually rolling to generate random effects for the terrain. And as you can see here, my Skaven army is deployed with a bell in the middle and all the troops around the side. I've sort of weighted down the left-hand flank a bit with the Doom Wheel and the Plague Monks, Sense Bearers, so forth, the Rat Ogres. Daryl's got a big dwarf army. He's got lots of infantry there, a big lot of troll slayers, warriors, longbeards. He's got 4 war machines. And both me and Daryl are agreed that 3 of the armies which are doing well in 8th edition, or look like they're going to be doing well on paper, are Empire, Skaven, and Dwarves, because both of those, or all 3 of those armies have access to, cost-efficient infantry, which can make big, effective horde units, which are great in the new rules. Secondly, they've both got really good crowd-controlling war machines with templates and stuff for good prices, so you can see those to actually counter those horde units. And thirdly, they've got some decent abilities and so forth to, keep their troops alive. They don't, take a nerf, from the old change from ITP to the new rules with, not having to take, automatic break chests, being automatically broken by fear and so forth. So I think those 3 armies in general are well placed to do well in 8th edition. We'll talk about that a bit more later, but let's have a look at what happened throughout this game. Next image shows you the Grey Seer on the bell. There's a coin on his little carriage there, just to say that he's generated 1 Warpstone token. I've got the weapon teams right out in front, a flamethrower and a warpfire thrower, and a rattling gun, trying to keep my units 1 inch apart, not really following the rules very well, and completely muffing my deployment now. First thing we've done wrong here is that Daryl's told me that I can't actually deploy my BSB in the bell unit because it's unbreakable, and you can't really join unbreakable units. But the Skaven errata has actually told you that you can deploy your character in that unit at the start of the game, you just can't leave it later on. So I didn't actually know that. I wanted to deploy my BSB there, but first mistake that you'll see through this game. Next image, Daryl's set his guys up. He's got a gyrocopter, 2 cannons, a flame cannon, and a stone thrower, also known as a grudge thrower, with a master engineer attached to the stone thrower, or nearby anyway. And pretty impressive firepower. Really going to be relying on the Storm Banner in my army list to help me against this. But really good setup here. He's got tons of infantry to totally thrash me in combat. Dwarves are better in 8th edition because they get, obviously a potentially faster charge movement, and that's what held them back a bit in 7th a little bit. He's got an anvil behind the forest at the back there, Anvil of Doom. So that's really what's going to be cracking here. This game is at 2,500 points, by the way. Don't often do it at that level. Next image shows you his warriors in the middle, his iron beards on the right, and his slayers on the left. Forests work differently these days. You can just move straight through them. No special runes or anything on these units, just tons of guys. And of course, with supporting attacks, with great weapons, and then your stepping up rule, it's a lot easier to do damage and have strikebacks with Dwarves. So I think that's really cool. Plus the toughness allows him just to keep around a while. And with that BSB behind both units, he's not really going to be running away. Next image, Daryl takes the first turn, moves his gyrocopter right out in front of the Night Runners, who picked up their slinking advance, free movement 6 inches up, ready to get around the flank and start attacking those war machines. He's decided to sort of harass them with his gyrocopter here by just moving it out and burning a couple of guys with the steam gun. Next image shows you my responding turn, because in his first turn he didn't really achieve too much with the shooting thanks to the Storm Banner. However, did manage to hit the bell with the stone thrower and smacked it and did a number of wounds on it, and everything else was unharmed. I think 1 wound on the Grey Seer from this crossbows, but that was about it. In my responding turn, I've charged out of the forest with the Gutter Runners right into the middle of the field to attack the war machines next turn, and I've charged the Gyrocopter with the Night Runners. Daryl rolled really low despite the Swift Strider rule in the Gyrocopter and was destroyed by the Night Runners, so a quick little victory for me there, killing that unit. In the next image, my Doom Wheel is hanging back here, and this is the second major mistake that I've made this game. Not realizing or not remembering that the Doom Wheel is moved after everybody else is in the compulsories. Oh, sorry, he has to move first, then everybody else moves, my bad. So I actually had him stuck in the first turn and not really able to move out full steam ahead, which was annoying. He also used his rune lord to use the Anvil of Doom to cast the Rune of Wrath and Ruin on the Doom Bell, on the Screaming Bell, to slow it down and do a little bit of damage to it. So that's what's happened there, and my Gracier choosing not to drink the Scam to heal his wound, and we'll see that as a major tactical error later on. Next image, everything moving forward. I've got the Giant Rats in combat with the Troll Slayers already at the back there, and in the middle I've got a big unit of Plague Monks formed so that they've got a frontage of 7 and 3 deep. That unit actually has a Plague Priest in order to help me get up to 2,500 points level. He's really decked out. First time I've used a Plague Priest, and really quite interested to see what I can achieve with him. And I've got the Team Cheddar Clan Rats unit moving up through the middle with a BSB and a Warlock Engineer as well. In the next image, the Gutter Runners have charged, this is the following turn, charged the Stone Thrower, and the assassin leaps out of the unit, and he makes short work of the machine, or I should say he would have made short work of the machine had the bell not gone off and destroyed it first in the magic phase. What was really interesting is that the bell did D3 wounds on all toughness 7 targets, doing 1 or 2 wounds on all of the war machines that the assassin didn't charge, and wiped out the Stone Thrower itself, which is ironic because that one was going to die anyway from the assassin. And I would have preferred that some of the cannons had been destroyed so that my bell would possibly survive later on, but not the case. Next image, what you've got here is the just a bit of a zoom out. Now, what's happened so far is that the Dwarves have had a couple of turns, I think, and this is Skaven turn 2. And what has annoyingly happened is that the Grace here has been killed by crossbow fire shooting because he only had 2 wounds left, and what happened there is that the crossbows nailed him really unluckily, failing all of his ward saves and everything, and losing my general straight away. And that's annoying because he's providing the leadership to my troops, and he's responsible for a lot of the magic. So really hitting myself for not playing it safe and drinking that potion. I was greedy and I wanted to try and heal 2 wounds back rather than 1. So that was very disappointing. Obviously I will not do that next time, but still getting really used to decision making when it comes to Skaven. Next image, the Doom Rocket goes off and kills about 13 or 14 warriors, and that was huge. That was just amazing. Both of us were just gobsmacked by how awesome this Doom Rocket is, and it's one of the reasons why I rate Skaven as one of the better armies for 8th edition. This Doom Rocket, obviously your opponent is going to have some big units in the on the field, and if he doesn't, he'll be easy to beat given the new rules. But the Doom Rocket really levels the playing field. Strength 5 hit on everybody touched by the template. It's really easy to get onto them without misfiring as well, as long as you're within about 15 to 25 inches away. That's perfect. Next image, the Troll Slayers have beaten off the Giant Rats, and what I hadn't really understood until I came up to this game was how the step-ups work. I've been so used to the fact that you can wipe out the front rank and not receive any attacks back, but with the new addition, if there are still models remaining after casualties removed from the rear, you can still attack with full attacks on the front and supporting attacks and so on. So the Giant Rats were beaten off by the Troll Slayers, who are actually doing very well, and now they'll be up against the Rat Ogres, which will be an interesting fight. Next image shows you that combat, and again, I'm caught out. Look, I'd set up this charge